allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Watt.
He's called in that he wouldn't be able to make it, so he's excused.
Okay. Councilmember One.
Here.
Councilmember West.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Here.
Mayor Rich.
Here. Okay. Next we have public comment on items that are not on the agenda. Does anybody want to address the council on items that are not on the agenda?
Moving speaker card, Lois Long.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us the time and opportunity to express our concerns and fears. My name is Lois Long. I am not only a merchant and a resident of San Juan Bautista, but a chairperson for San Juan Bautista's Merchant Co-op. We do not want to sit here and be victims. A majority of merchants have installed new locks, cameras, and alarms in their establishments, but all these efforts and added expense have proven to be insufficient.
Excuse me for just a minute. We have public safety on 7D, and maybe we should move that up.
Move it up to the...
But what you're talking about is an item that is on the agenda.
Okay.
We're gonna discuss public safety options, public safety being police protection.
All right.
Okay?
I'll come
I
back.
know we've had a lot of burglaries. I was one of them. Okay? So can I just move that 7?
I'll second it.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need a roll call for that?
What are we voting on? I'm sorry.
Moving.
Wait, I
we-
got a little ahead of me, sorry.
We,
To move the item
lady wanted to address us on public safety options.
Yes.
And we have 7D on the agenda, but that's at the end of the agenda. Maybe we should bring it up.
Great. I would also like to move 7B. The young lady is here, and I know her husband is ill.
Okay.
And it would be very nice if we could move
Let's-
that up.
Let's do that too, but we'll need another motion.
I would move that we move 7B followed by 7D to the to follow the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay. Do we need a roll call vote? I guess we do. We do it for everything.
Yes.
So, all right. I hate roll call votes.
Councilmember West.
Yes.
Councilmember Bach. Councilmember One.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Yes.
Mayor Rich.
Yes.
Four members of the council being present, the motion is taken by Mayor passes.
Okay, so we've started item number 2, public comment. Let's finish that, and then we'll go straight into these 2 items that we moved. Is there any other public comment that's on items not on the agenda? No? Anybody that didn't turn in a speaker card yet and wanted to talk? No? Okay. So now we'll go to
7B.
7B, no, D, 7D. We moved that first. Oh, you...
Let's just
I'd like to do B.
Yeah, let's do
simply
B
because
first
we have
because
one
B is
person.
going to be a shorter item than D.
I
Okay.
hope.
Also, are we waiting, is the sheriff going to show up tonight, or do we just have the crime prevention?
We have a report from the city manager
Okay,
that we can go over. It's a discussion item anyway, so we can't
Yeah.
vote.
yeah, just if there's any questions, if he was on his way to answer.
Yeah. Yeah, he might get here in time for the...
Okay.
I thought I saw something that they were going to... No, that was at the neighborhood watch meeting. They went to that.
They did, yeah.
Monday
They had,
night?
I believe there were
Yeah.
two deputies in attendance.
Yeah. Probably the patrol deputies. Okay, so let's take 7B, the Lane Court storm drain update. Roger?
And Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm sure you're aware the Rogers have come before you before and was concerned about the storm drain at the end of Lane Court. And they reside at 101 Lane Court. Subdivision was built, approved in 1980 and shortly thereafter built. constructed a 18-inch RCP storm drain pipe, runs in between lots 26 and 27, and it exited onto the state property. And from there, it meandered in a westerly direction towards that natural drainage channel and culvert that goes under the highway. Sometime several years later, a sound wall was installed. And the sound wall blocked the normal drainage pattern and reverted it to where it ran parallel with the sound wall. And that resulted in pipe being silted up, diminished capacity, and creating some ponding water on the private property of lot 27, which is the Rogers piece. We looked at it and did some measurements and stuff like that. The people contacted Caltrans and they did an investigation. And after the investigation and the discussion, we finally resolved that we resolved a solution for it. That was to install a storm drain pipe, 18 inches in diameter, parallel with sound wall, right on the inside, that would go in a easterly direction towards the drainage channel. The Caltrans has agreed to that they would purchase and fund the piping for the city, and the city then would use our forces to excavate and install a storm drain pipe. So that's kind of where we're at. We've got some rough costs of what we would not purchase the pipe for, and it's something about less than $2,000 of piping cost and all the fittings and stuff like that. And then the cost of the city would be is just for us to remove the fence, get in with the backhoe, excavate, and get the gradient and flow line of the 18-inch diameter pipe, then install the piping, do a sand backfill so it has support as it flaps, and then backfill it and restore it back to a level condition equal to what the lot level of the parcel was. All of that is going to take some time and everything, and probably the work can be completed within a week period as soon as the weather breaks, if we get all the forces in there and constructing everything. In the meantime, the soggy wet there is going to be very difficult to get all the equipment in there, and so we're just kind of waiting for a break in the weather to commence on that thing. And I wrote him a letter back in April, and I told him that we really couldn't spend any money on private property unless we get approval from the city council. And I think that's where we're at now, is to seek some type of authorization to allow us to activate and use city forces on private property to alleviate this problem.
Any questions?
How much do you guess that's going to cost us for the labor?
We've estimated that it's going to be anywhere from, by the time we get all of the labor forces and stuff like that, anywhere from $7,000 to $9,000 cost, actual operators.
And we're responsible for some portion of that, or not?
Yeah.
All of that.
That's not the total, but the $2,200 for the piping and the fitting would be Caltrans, and then our share would be anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000.
Okay.
We couldn't have bought the pipe and had Caltrans put it in?
Well,
Switch would have
that
on
was
that.
one of the
Yeah.
discussions that we had with Caltrans, that they couldn't commit to any forces on private property, just like the
Yeah.
city. We're in
I-
better shape because the property is in the city jurisdiction, and would create, it would require legislative action by our city council to give us permission to go on private property and perform work.
I'm just kind of amazed. It's 36 years later. It's now a problem. You know, this is something that probably should have been handled in the 80s,
Yeah.
90s.
Well, I think it should have been addressed when the sound wall was put in.
Yeah.
Because the natural flow was out to the state property, and then all of a sudden it was blocked. I think somewhere along the line, somebody didn't recognize that, and it resulted in this situation.
Yeah, it seems to me this should have been taken care of. Obviously, should have been dealt with a long time ago, but I don't see this going away. I mean, it's going to create problems long term with potentially with the sound wall. We've already had it silt up and caused backups and drainage problems with the the municipal drains and so forth.
Somewhat it's an attractive nuisance because
Yeah.
if the Rogers have young children there and they happen to fall into the water and drowning and everything, it's a liability.
Yeah,
And
and they do have young children, so.
And the Rogers weren't there when it was done. They bought
Correct.
the house subsequent.
Yeah.
They would assume that everything was done right.
Yeah.
I guess it's our fault and Caltrans's fault that it got the way it was. But it wasn't the Rogers' fault.
Maybe the city should have let Caltrans know that we were draining through that area and they needed to take into
Yeah.
account the pipe. The thing of it is, the pipe came through their yard but didn't go all the way to where the ditch is. The sound wall went in between the end of the pipe and the ditch.
It's about
crazy.
what, 20
And
feet?
so it hindered the flow. But we should have run the pipe all the way to the ditch. Why are we just letting it just
Yeah.
run through the
The end of the
dirt?
RCP did not extend into the state property.
Yeah.
And that was part of the problem. They excavated and drilled their piers and installed a wall, and the pipe was 4 or 5 feet behind it.
Yeah. You know, if we do this, there has to be a dedication of the ground where the new pipe goes
Yes,
by
and
them
that's- yeah.
so that it'll show up on their title report in the future when they sell, and so that
Exactly, and that's-
anybody who buys the property can't come back against us and say, I don't want your
That's-
pipe there, or
that's one of
whatever.
the
you know.
tasks that I've identified is that upon completion and installation, we will prepare a storm drain easement, and then we'll ask the Rogers to execute it and record it so that it'll be a legal easement.
Legal easement, yeah.
Okay. I'd move that we direct the city manager to.
I was going to open it up.
Oh,
in
I'm
case
sorry.
anybody
Go
wanted
ahead.
to- yeah. Is there anybody that wants to speak to us on this matter? No?
Mrs. Rogers is here, but she doesn't.
Unless we have questions.
No, and you heard all of the report. I imagine you were made aware of what was going on here also.
Yes.
Okay.
I talked to Caltrans directly.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you realize it'll take a little bit of time, but we'll do it as soon as we can.
I totally do.
Okay.
Do you want me to?
No,
No, it's
not
fine.
if you, unless you
Okay.
want to.
I totally, as long as we know that something's going to happen, I'm so appreciative of everybody's help.
Yeah, we're further along than it's been in the
When is
past.
it gonna happen?
I would like it, I mean,
When?
it's been almost 2 years.
When is it gonna happen?
Probably when the ground gets dry, because right now it's awfully difficult to excavate that much
It's not
dirt
difficult.
when it's all
impossible.
muddy.
We've been in a drought for how long? And nothing's happened at their place. When is it gonna happen?
As soon as we can.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you need, just the consensus of the council to pursue it and then bring it back for our authorization? Okay. Does that sound all right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right,
so
let's
we're there?
move on to 7D, public safety options. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and address this, and anybody that wants to talk about this situation can go ahead and address this now, or you can wait until we make the staff report first so you know where we're at on this, and then before we start discussing it, you could talk. You want to wait until we do the staff report?
Are you talking about public safety? Or are you
Yes,
talking
public
about the
safety.
dig right there?
No, I'd like to say what I have to say. And
Okay.
you will be welcome news. to
That's
us.
fine. That's fine.
I guess I'll just start where I left
Yeah,
off.
go ahead and start over.
Start over?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Good evening. Thank you for allowing us the time and opportunity to express our concerns and fears. My name is Lois Long. I am not only a merchant and a resident of San Juan Bautista, but chairperson for the San Juan Bautista Merchants Co-op. We do not want to sit here and be victims. A majority of merchants have installed new locks, cameras, and alarms in their establishments, but all these efforts and added expenses have proven to be insufficient. Our livelihoods and welfare of this unique town depends on tourism. Visitors are hearing about the robberies and noticing the broken and boarded up windows and doors and do not feel safe shopping here. What messages are the potential new homeowners getting about our town? These incidents are tarnishing the town's name and reputation. We as merchants, and most of us women, are concerned if this is not under control, these predators, who are very confident in their actions, may escalate to being robbed in daylight, and possibly with a weapon. These predators know they are getting away with their actions because of known, very limited, and delayed actions of the Sheriff's Department. In the last couple of weeks, most businesses have been vandalized and robbed, some repeatedly. Homes in the area have also been victimized and vehicles stolen. We, not only as merchants but citizens of this community, need to know what action is being done. We have been politely told there's not enough funding. That's not the answer. Where there is a problem, there's always a solution. You as authorities must take action now. We cannot continually be victimized and do nothing. As a community, we will continue to give our support and work with the City Council and the Sheriff's Department, but it has to start with you. We are all eager to settle this quickly and get back to business. Thank you.
Thank you. Were there any other comments? Okay, we'll close this part of the meeting. We can always have public comment after the reports and discussion, or before discussion. No, after discussion. Roger, you want to go ahead and give us your staff report on this?
Yeah, basically, our contract with the Sheriff Department allows us to use the Sheriff Department approximately 44 hours per week in rotations and shifts and patrolling. And obviously, 44 hours per week is very minimal, and a lot of the burglaries that take place is in the early morning hours and stuff like that.
Roger, I think they're asking your
have,
mic up.
we don't have the officers present and stuff like that. And so we have to come up with some remedy of that by either augmenting the Sheriff Department budget and increasing patrol hours in the evening, or some type of a private security system that could patrol at night in those off-duty hours of the patrol, where they would be the eyes and ears and hearing of the community, and call the attention to suspicious people, and then contact the Sheriff Department to bring them in so that they could make arrests and stuff like that. It's a tough item, and it's something that's going to cost a lot of money. Right now, we spend approximately $190,000, a little under $200,000 a year for law enforcement in the city, and by increasing the hours of the patrolmen in that duty is a very costly. The average cost of a deputy sheriff with the salary and the fringe benefits and the workman comp runs about $142,000 a year. And so if you increase it substantially, you're talking about 20 hours would be somewhere right around $70,000 minimum for an extra 20 hours of service. 20 hours from 44 to 64 is not going to make the solution, because there's wee hours of the morning from midnight till 5 o'clock in the morning where there's still no coverage and stuff. So that's where...
So our businesses are not
So,
doing
excuse
that?
me, wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm
Excuse me,
sorry, but
I'm
you
talking
cannot
right
talk
now.
right now. We
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yes.
Businesses are
Okay.
doing that.
I asked you if you wanted to make a comment before. You can't interrupt. This is
Yeah.
not the part of the
Okay, I
meeting
will
when
not
you
do
can
it
talk.
again. Thank
You
you.
will have a chance to talk later, but don't interrupt.
Yeah.
So the alternate would be is to go into some type of a security, private security. They cost less and pay a less cost, and have them roaming the town and then advising and be in communication with the sheriff department, or then they could be accessible in a short period of time. So it's a balance of how much we were willing to spend and how much additional revenues that we can get. There has been some jurisdictions, and we've investigated in other cities that have small populations and stuff like that, where they've done crime assessment districts in the downtown area, where the merchants pay an extra fee and they do the patrolling specifically in the central business district for that sole purpose of law enforcement.
Any questions?
No questions. I have.
So we're looking for coverage that's going to cover the nights from, say, 11 to 7. Would probably be. I mean, they're going to want to have at least an 8-hour commitment, right?
I think that we're jumping the gun by saying this is what we're looking for.
No,
I don't.
Well, not what we're looking for, but that's the time that seems to be the problem.
The between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. approximately is when I believe statistically that's when the bulk of this stuff has been going on. Basically, so you've got a 4 to 6 hours approximately each night that would ideally be covered by additional patrol. So
now, one of the alternates that I looked at was to take that 44 hours that the current sheriff department utilizes in our community and say, forget about the early morning hours and the afternoons, and bring them in at 5 o'clock and then run them to midnight or something like that. 44 hours over 7 days a week is about 7 hours a day, roughly.
And bring them in at 5 a.m. or 5 p.m.?
5 p.m., 5 or 6 p.m., and then run them to midnight or 1 o'clock, Then
That would be 1 o'clock.
so
That'd be 1 o'clock. No, I'm
it's
sorry. This
Excuse
is
me,
not
Mr.
your time to talk. This is not a discussion. You can address the council when I call for that time, and I will call for public comment. But I'm going to have to ask you to leave if this keeps up.
So it's the 2 a.m., midnight 2 a.m. until 5 a.m. where most of the break-ins have occurred. It's that overnight period. And I think statistically it's happening most often in the early morning, like between 4 and 6, for whatever reason.
That's when the commercial burglaries are happening.
That's
but I think
correct.
the residential burglaries are happening during the day when people are at work.
But that certainly has not been, there have not been very many of those. I know obviously your house you were
Mine,
burgled.
and then there was a house on 7th Street, I know, but I don't know about any others.
And it's not something that there hasn't been a great deal of frequency of that. In the last 3 months, there's been, 15 or 20 commercial break-ins. I mean, it's been, and vandalizations. I mean, it's an epidemic at this point, I'd say. I started doing some number crunching, and to bring in the sheriff's department to get 24/7 coverage is $500,000 in addition to what we're spending today. That represents more than the city brings in all of our taxes. So it's that doesn't seem like a realistic option to me. I agree with Roger that a private security option is much more realistic. I also spoke to the city, one of the council members, and the police chief in Delray Oaks. Delray Oaks is very close to the same physical size as San Juan Bautista and population, and they estimated, the chief estimated that the startup costs, including the first year of operation to start our own police department, would be between $4 and $5 million. And an ongoing operational expenses would be in the neighborhood of $1.5 million annually. So these are questions that repeatedly come up, probably for all of you too, but I get, I see them on social media. I see people asking me about this stuff constantly in town, and I don't think there hasn't been a very specific discussion about what some of these costs are. So those are some pretty real numbers for what those levels of service would entail, would cost us. What I asked for this to be placed on the agenda because I would suggest that we direct the strategic plan group to investigate the private security, get multiple options, speak to the merchants, speak to residents, and put together a couple of proposals that would address both the residential and the commercial burglaries. I think personally the commercial burglaries should be the priority at this point because that seems to be the worst problem that we have. But and then as well as looking at camera systems, municipal grade camera systems that would be able to monitor the traffic in and out of town. Since we only have really 3 entrances to town, that is a fairly manageable. The scope of that's fairly manageable. But I think the problem is we don't have enough information. We don't have a sense of what it's going to cost to do this. And so it becomes the circular discussion, and we just don't know. So until we get some facts, hard numbers, the first alarm's been here twice before the city council in the past, but we did not get a concrete proposal out of those visits, and I think handing it to the strategic plan folks takes it. We all know Roger's got an awful lot going on, and to lump another job on him, I'm not sure is,
they could do the
we have
legwork.
some resources, and they've been very productive. Their government and communications subcommittee has been very productive. I know Eric from the Neighborhood Watch is also, I've discussed it with him, and he's very interested in participating in that group as well. And he is a member of the strategic plan committee as well, but that seems like the only realistic way to do it. And I think from a funding standpoint, we've now refinanced the bonds. We have freed up a pretty significant pool of dollars in the enterprise fund. We also know that we have a $1.8 million loan from the general fund into those enterprise funds. That gives us the mechanism to move some of those dollars into the general fund, back into the general fund, which we can then dispose of in this manner. And I think that this is the first time I felt like there has been enough money for us to work with to make a legitimate impact. The number one issue we've had from the community has been water up to this point. We've, I think, successfully addressed those issues. Now we need to move on. This is the second issue, the second most common issue that came up to me during the election a year ago. So in my mind, this should be our top priority at this point. And I think this is the first time we've had that we've seen the light at the end of the tunnel where we actually have the ability to fund it. So those are my comments.
Okay. I have some thoughts too, but would you mind if we stop the discussion, take public comment, and we'll close off the public comment, we'll come back here and we'll finish discussing it. Because it's not an action item.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll open up public comment. We'll need you to fill out a speaker card and give it to the clerk. And do you have one already, Connie? Do you have any cards already? Not for this item? Okay.
Why didn't you just get her out? Just get her out here.
That is something I will not put up with. We had it with those people on the gas station.
Yeah, you don't,
And I'm on a committee with them now, the two that
Small
they're
world.
very nice people, you know.
Yeah. Hey, the only way is like funding this. I don't know. I was thinking, why don't we do our own in-house security?
Hello, my name's Linda again. Thank you all. I just opened a business not even a month ago in downtown San Juan Bautista. I'm hearing comments from customers. I've also been speaking to residents that have also been burglarized during the day hours. My question is, does the city council have kind of a number or statistics from the sheriff's department or where we're at right now with total burglaries for the businesses, which I kind of know myself, versus residential? Okay, so we don't have it. I think that's numbers we need to probably get from them. And I'm sure the sheriff's department would be more than willing to work with our small town to maybe change up, if they can, some of their shift changes or some of the hours, but it's costing the small businesses almost more than what they're taking to replace the doors, the windows. And I know of 2 businesses that have been struck twice. So I'm hoping that there is some money in the fund that we can free up. And I agree totally with what Lois said, is most of the businesses downtown are run by women. And we're there after dark. And it would be nice if we could change up, or maybe the sheriff can do some type of surveillance for a couple weeks, because they seem to hit for a couple days, they lay low for 5 days, 4 days, and then they come back again. So I'm hoping that we could work with the sheriff's department to find a solution to this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any more speaker cards?
Hi, my name is Rhonda Rossio. I'm Mom and Pop Saloon, and my deal is, you guys did away with the perfectly good volunteer fire department. Robert Len, you know this. We had an excellent fire department to bring in the one we hired now. Okay, how many fires do we have compared to burglaries? You did away with the sheriff's department. We had a sheriff's department here, a little substation, and they were here continuously. So now we got fire department, and we have 1 fire a year, but we have 22 burglaries. So it's like, maybe it's something that you need to look back at, because you, Robert, know as a volunteer fire department, it was a great deal. Everything was here. We were here constantly. And now we're all being robbed because we have no sheriff's protection because you pay the fire department. It's something the city needs to look at. That's what it is. How many fires compared to how many burglaries? We had a great fire department volunteer for many years, correct? And there you go. There's something to look at.
Thank you.
Katie? This is my first time anyway.
Welcome.
I'd like to reiterate what Naomi Medina Hollister.
Katie Cullum to 11th Beck Street, my high school college.
Yeah, you know, I'm really disappointed that the businesses in San Juan aren't getting the protection we deserve. I've not, as a business owner, the only person we've talked to is Chris. Nobody else seems to give a damn about what's happening to us. This is ridiculous. The sheriff's department, they patrol around during the day. Sometimes we see them. Sometimes they're up at the cemetery. And if they would stop the speeders downtown, they'd more than pay for their salaries. Believe me, we're yelling at people constantly. You put up those 15-mile-an-hour signs, nobody pays any attention to them. If law enforcement would sit on one of these side streets and stop them and give them a ticket, not just a warning, but a ticket,
maybe, and it's local people too. It's not just tourists. It's local people that are speeding. I suggested to somebody that you put up those portable stop signs like they have during the biker rally in Hollister. I mean, Katie has almost gotten hit twice. Right there by Donia's, that little lady that lives up behind Donia's, she's almost gotten hit a couple of times. And I'm sure there are other people. It is dangerous out there. If they were going 15, that would be okay. But they are not. And I just think for the safety of anyone visiting this town or living in this town, that you need to stop the speeders. And as far as Rhonda was saying about the fire department, this is true. We had a perfectly fine for many years, and what has that fire department, what is that costing us? Did you have to buy a fire truck? Did you, all this? No? So, okay. But we were perfectly fine with the volunteers. Then you have the law enforcement coming in. Why don't you go through a security service and hire somebody? And we don't necessarily, I'm not saying we don't need anybody during the day, but these robberies, these break-ins, these blatant break-ins are happening early in the morning. And by the time you call the sheriff's department, there's only 2 on duty for the whole damn county. Now how can you expect any kind of coverage over here? And that other time they robbed out on Fairview, come over here and rob, and by the time they come from Fairview over here, I mean, they're long gone. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. We have to get smarter. Why don't we raise a fund to put cameras on all the light posts in town? What's that going to cost? I mean, isn't that what you guys are supposed to be doing? Figuring out ways to make this place safer? The whole town? This is a tourist town. We get people from all over the world. You should come visit our shops. We never see any of you other than Chris downtown all the time, yakking with us and seeing what's going on. But other than that, we don't see you people. You don't realize, and business has been bad. Shops need to be open. You need to pass an ordinance that all shops coming into town have to be open at least 6 days a week.
I can hear
A
that,
tourist
yeah.
town has to be open. It's ridiculous. Sorry to be so bitchy. But I hope the hell you're listening to me, though.
Yeah. We're married, that's why.
Because I care about this town. I'll do anything for this town. I'll run fundraisers to make money, but you've got to cut back. Paying the sheriff's department that much is too much money. Paying for the fire department is too much money.
But can you guys
Thank
put
you.
a stop sign at Donia's and not hitting any more cars? Please do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Katie.
Yeah, we do need a stop sign at Donia's.
Any more speaker cards?
I'm working on it.
Is that it, Connie? Is that it? No? Oh, you don't have any more?
That's it.
Okay, so we'll close the public comment. We'll bring it back to the council. I have some thoughts, but do you guys want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll start it. I did like the comment that she made about keeping the businesses open 6 days a week. A lot of people come here and they're like, we come by here, they're all closed. When's a good time to come through here? And not everybody's schedule is, what's open. So I'm very, very good on that. As going back to the fire department, the money part of it we did not increase our budget any amount to fund the fire department to have 24-hour service. We partnered up with the county to try to get a 24-hour service on that. the same thing we were trying to do with the sheriff's department, but it wasn't working out. Roger, do we still have the substation over at the school?
Oh.
No.
Okay, so we'll look into maybe try to get that back. Have that. I think probably the answer, not the answer, but a suggestion is some type of security here in town at night. If we maybe start our own private security, might be a more fundable.
Oh boy.
Yes.
That sounds like Neighborhood Watch, which sounds like a liability nightmare.
Well,
Liability nightmare.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
This is the time for you to listen. Once more, and I'll ask you to leave.
I'll go. You guys
You're
are
welcome to
ridiculous.
stay. You're welcome to
First
stay,
alarm-
but this, no, I'm sorry.
First alarm,
Oh, come
I'm sorry, this
they
is
go
not your
park
time.
at one end of town, and they do not patrol the town. First alarm, anybody knows, an insecurity company, they hire kids.
You know
and
what?
they park-
You
I'm
can-
leaving.
I'm sure you can
I'm
talk
leaving.
all night, but go ahead and
I'm
leave.
leaving. But
Leave
I'm
now.
telling you, they park at
You
one end
had
of
your
town,
chance.
And they do not patrol the county. They do not patrol the town. They don't give a crap. They're kids.
Please leave.
They're kids. I'm going. It's ridiculous. Get the sheriff's in and get the volunteer fire department back. Which
You
is
already
what
said
the
that.
town
Now
is
get
great
out.
for. The
Get out.
volunteer fire department is great here. Great.
Okay. Were you done?
Yeah.
On this, I agree with a lot of what Chris said.
Yeah.
It's a matter of dollars. I mean, we have to keep the place as safe as we can within the budget. I think maybe security, change the police, have them come in at night, and I don't know what that does. I'd like to buy some more for some during the day in town, but of course they can go all over the place then. But then hire private security between 1 and 6, 2 and 4, whatever, 2 and 8, whatever.
And we can have it in the contract as they must move in the car, they must patrol.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into the weeds. That's exactly right. I'm sure her issues are real, but I mean, what are our options? We've got to move forward. That's why I think we look at multiple. My suggestion is that we go to the strategic plan. They can contact multiple contractors. We're going to need to go out to multiple companies in any case and get some proposals and look at our options. Right now, we just don't have enough information to make a reasonable decision. So we've got to figure out a path. Now, Roger, if you want to take this on, I don't have a particular need for them.
I think you were smart in soliciting the strategic plan committee because they've got some good people there that are knowledgeable of that, and then they can work with me and keep me in the loop and stuff, and then I can crunch the numbers and get the stuff. So I think it's a team effort.
Okay.
And this is not something that's been going on for a long time. This wave came through.
Yeah.
Well,
That's true.
there's been one or two prior just in the last year. I mean, there's been, I'd say, 3 rounds of break-ins, 3 multiple rounds. I mean, it is a serious problem. And policing, as I said before, policing was the number 2 issue that came up during the campaign when I was talking to people in town, and that's before any of this stuff was going on. So we've got to move. We've got to move on it, and I think clearly we have to move quickly.
I think we have a consensus on that.
Okay.
I've been really frustrated with the sheriff's department. We tell them, look, be at this spot at this time. It happens all the time, and they're not there.
Yeah, and they
It's
have
frustrating.
a whole host of constraints that we're not in a position to drive them and to direct them as like we'd like to or need to. Mm-hmm. We have much more autonomy with a private provider. We can be very specific in the terms of the contract, and it just offers us a lot of flexibility. So okay, so we're then. Do we have consensus?
I haven't spoken yet.
I'm sorry. How do
We're
you
not
feel?
done yet.
How do you feel, Rick?
Open up.
Well, I'm mourning the fact that I can't go into Mom and Pop's anymore.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah, I heard about you. Okay, I want to throw something out here. And I'm thinking that maybe the fact that we pay for 44 hours of police protection limits us to that 44 hours. And the daytime visits are just show the car in San Juan so they get off my back about not having any police protection.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know what kind of calls the sheriff's office has in this general area all the time. I don't know if they have a lot of family fight calls in Aromas or out in the country around San Juan Bautista. I don't know if they have car burglary reports to take. I don't know what's going on crime-wise. It would be interesting to find out if this goes to the Neighborhood Watch Committee. But the thing of it is, we have a population center here in San Juan of 1,900 people, plus a bunch more that live in the surrounding area. Now, I'm sorry, but 5 acres in San Juan Valley does not commit a crime. People commit crimes. So I would think that even if we weren't paying for 44 hours, we should still have the sheriff's office focusing on this community and the surrounding area quite a bit, because this is where the people are. Now, they can't fight crime in Hollister because Hollister has a police department, so they don't need to take anything on in Hollister. But we don't have a police department. There's more people here, I would venture. Well, I know Tres Pinos is about 300 or 450 now, something like that. Racines is small. Everybody is spread out when you leave Hollister and go out into the surrounding areas. There's a concentration in North County, but again, these are mostly homes on acreage. There's Santa Rosa Drive by the airport, an old subdivision that went in a long time ago, and there's subdivisions out Hillcrest, and and now there's going to be some along Fairview Road by the water tank. We had Ridgemark come in years ago, so I'm sure they patrol out there, but Ridgemark also hires gate guards for the security gate, and I believe they patrol inside the subdivision. But my point is that there's a lot of people around San Juan, and even if we weren't paying them, they should be passing through here every once in a while. They should be aware of this as a source of crimes after the recent burglaries, and we shouldn't have to pay. And what I'm afraid of is that by paying for 44 hours, we're just getting 44 hours. But what are they doing the rest of the time in the surrounding area? I mean, patrol is important. I understand police work. Patrol is important. But when you weigh patrol and burglaries, you want to fight burglaries. If they're hitting businesses at night, then you want to be patrolling at night when that's happening. You want to question anybody that's walking around. It's not a time when people normally walk around. So anyway, this is just an idea, but human nature being what it is, you buy 44 hours, that's all you're going to get. And you rag a little bit about it, and okay, we'll send the guys over to have a cup of coffee at Vertigo and drive down 3rd Street, and then they can go do something else. And I have a feeling that's the situation
a valid
we're in.
point, and I think it should be initiated by sitting down with the sheriff and just says, this is our problem, and we'd like you to come up with what you feel would be a good solution and see how they would approach that. Because they have the ability to alter their schedule and address the hot spots, I call them, the late at night and early morning hours.
And that's just a part of police work. I mean, if you're having nighttime burglaries, what are they doing on, Fairview Road is probably the other beat, but what are they doing on 129? Guarding the Granite Rock, the gravel pit?
No, we've got private security. We have,
But do you have very much crime out there?
no.
Is there much in Aromas? Like burglaries?
No.
Business and residential?
No, I don't think so.
See, you go where the action is. You go where something's likely to happen. I just have the feeling that they're staying away from San Juan because, oh, hey, that's Joe's job when he's on whatever shift he works because he's part of the 44 hours.
Sure.
And then separately, I think the car that we bought for the officer that patrols San Juan gets more miles put on it elsewhere than it does here. And that should not be driven when the San Juan officer isn't on duty unless they're going to patrol over here and stay here. So that's another pet peeve that I think should be looked into.
We figured out, me and Roger figured out the miles, and the miles that they put on the car, they would have to drive up each street 6 times a day to put that many miles on
That'd
it
be
in
great.
3 years. So unless they're going up and down the six times a day on the street, there's no sense in putting that many miles on there.
The only time I saw him in front of my house was when Rich Brown was here. And Rich Brown also caught the biggest burglar we've had, who actually lived here. Okay, so we're going to pass this over to the Strategic Plan Committee for
Are you
research.
on board with that idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Shall I communicate, or Roger, do you want to take that communication, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah, because you're on the committee, yeah.
I will
You can
do it.
communicate that.
Good.
And
Thank
and
you.
in defense too is I think we should interface with Sheriff Thompson.
Do we?
Who would do that? Would that be the committee, or would it be us? Or
I think it needs to come from us. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it needs to be at this level, and it should probably be you.
It has to come from the city council, and I think I'll make the contact and ask him to meet with a couple members of the council.
Okay.
That would be great.
I'll, if we can have it in the late afternoon, I can make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Item number 4, presentations, informational items, and
Right.
reports.
No, wait a minute. We didn't get through the consent. did we?
Consent.
Oh,
we haven't
no,
done the
we missed
consent
consent.
agenda.
I'm sorry. Okay. Number 3, consent items. Did anybody want to pull anything from there?
No, I'll make a
No?
I'll make a
Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Bach is absent. Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Margarita?
Aye.
Mayor Ridge?
Yes.
4 members of council being present, the motion is stated by the member passes 4-1. Councilmember Bach absent.
Thank you. So, number 4, presentations, informational items, and reports. Before we get into that, I believe, is now a good
yes.
time?
We have a special presentation for Jim. This is in recognition of your first year as the alternate at COG. This is your
Why is
booby
it
prize,
why is
as
it
they used
ticking?
to say.
I don't know.
You should open that.
Yeah, you need to open it.
Gift from Deputy Romano Boss.
Pardon me? I got that. That's funny.
While he's over there, the volunteer sign, somebody stole it?
No, actually, the volunteer sign was taken down because there was numerous complaints, and it's actually behind
The spine.
the glass
is the-
container that's in the meeting room
Oh, okay.
in the fire department there, with the trophies and badges
Oh.
and stuff in through there.
What's the title?
So
The world according to concrete. I need
Jim
more
has a
concrete.
very strong affinity for concrete.
Love
so
concrete.
You think
It
so?
lasts.
It was.
It lasts. I was asked how come I put so much concrete around my place. I said, you fill your home with things that make you feel at home and feel familiar. And there's nothing like looking out an expanse of concrete that just warms the cockles of my heart. I want to
Warm
thank you.
and fuzzy.
Second only to rock.
Okay.
would you mind moving C to A?
No, we're going to go to it now.
Okay.
Yeah. So, number 4A, monthly financial statements and treasurer's report. I don't see.
Chuck has got another engagement, and so he kind of asked me to fill in here. Basically in the treasury report, our fund balance is positive on 136. However, our enterprise funds are lagging behind because of the water conservation efforts, and we're down about $58,000. But we're keeping an eye on the overall expenditures in that, and so we're balancing that off. So it's really kind of a wash in that situation. The overall cash flow is a positive 286, and we have cash on balance of with the debt reserve of $400,000. It comes about 2.8. And as of the budget actual revenues, our general fund revenues were 58, which is higher than we anticipated by $34,000. Our general fund expenditures were 42, which was lower than what we anticipated, and because that expenditures were watching and kind of reducing the effects of capital improvements as well as any additional purchase of goods and supplies that we can forego until the last quarter of our fiscal year. General fund net balance changed was a positive 136. Enterprise revenues were 9,808, which is lower than the budget by about $22,000. But again, our enterprise expenditures were lower than the budget by 172. So again, we're watching it and keeping a positive cash flow all the time. So combined, we're in still good shape. As you can see in the warrants, as we looked here, the warrants are less than $100,000, and that is by the refinancing. We got rid of one of the bigger ones, and that was the Granite Rock expenditures of approximately $7,731 every month. We have several items in here as you'll go down of various individuals, and these are refunds from deposits of their accounts and stuff like that. There is one that's reimbursable, and that is CE and G. That's $1,900 that's reimbursable from the developer, as well as the Oberling Environmental Company of $731, and those are all reimbursed back to the general fund through the developer. And those are for environmental reports that have been required for the development. We still have a large amount of expenditures in the Bracewell Engineering for our operations of our sewer and water system. And then there's a one-time expenditures of the $24,000 for the annual audit.
For which?
The annual audit.
Oh, right.
Annual
Okay.
audit, you know.
I knew it sounded familiar, but I couldn't place the name.
Yeah. So by and large, it's positive. You can see on the graphs that we have a very positive income to expenditure in the month of December, and that's where most of our property tax comes in, and it shows a positive in those months. Of the first 6 months there, 3 months were a negative cash flow, and 3 months were a positive cash flow.
Any questions?
No, sir.
Any speaker cards? No speaker cards? Okay, we'll move on to Sheriff's report, which there is none. Fire Chief's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Unfortunately, Chief Martin Del Campo had a scheduling conflict tonight, so he wasn't able to attend. So he asked for me to speak on his behalf tonight, and I'm Captain Dover of the Hollister Fire Department, and I'm currently stationed here at your San Juan Bautista Station. So, all right, so to go over a few things, starting from December 1st of last year to January 18th of this year, the City of Hollister Fire Department, or the Fire Department, has run 469 calls for service. In District 4, there have been 52 calls of service. This is the area that the San Juan Bautista Station covers. We had 5 reports of fires. We had 6 vehicle accidents, 16 EMS calls, and 25 miscellaneous type calls, your carbon monoxide alarms, your alarm soundings, stuff like that. We had an uptick in carbon monoxide alarms due to the winter time and people starting to run their heaters after they've been dormant for several months.
Sure.
There's been some training going on at the department, some crew boss classes, engine boss classes, trying to get our command staff up to speed. We're currently recruiting more reserves. We have a current staffing of 23. We're scheduled to start another training academy at the end of February. I believe we have over 30 applicants for that right now. They're under review. We'll start interview processes at the end of this week.
Terrific.
And if you have any other questions, that's all I have.
Any questions?
No.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
One of the headlights on 14 was out. Did that get?
It was fixed today.
Right.
Wow, that's
You
getting
knew
down
he'd
into
ask
the...
about it, right?
That is getting down into the drilling.
And don't worry about any of that stuff that was said earlier. Just you guys are doing fine.
Take everything with a grain of salt. Right?
There you go.
Everyone has their opinion. Everybody's entitled to it.
We love you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We do our best.
You
And
do
then-
good.
Anything else?
Anything else?
No, I
Some
guess that's
concerns
it.
about the sign coming down.
Yeah, actually, the sign was. I really believe it should be back up there. I mean, that we don't take the bell down out of the mission because they're not ringing it anymore or stuff like that. I mean, it was part of history. It'd been up there for a long time, and I don't know. I'm just kind of sad to see it taken down. I'd really like to see it go back up.
Yeah, I think it's historical for the community because it was part of our thing, even though it's not a functional volunteer fire department. It's just a reminder that historically we've had the volunteer fire department, and it's like a plaque, So.
Yeah.
The sign's actually been moved to. There's a big glass case that has all the old trophies and all the awards the volunteer department had won in the past. It's stored right there with those.
Right.
So there was a lot of comments made about where it's not a volunteer department anymore, or it should be down. So we stood upon ourselves, let's go ahead and take it down, get rid of the comments. It is actually, even though it's a reserve-driven department with full-time personnel there, everyone is paid, so it doesn't really meet the requirements of a volunteer department anymore. But the sign's in good hands and it's safe.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I keep an ASCOT park poster in my garage.
Okay, the library report. We have it in our binders. Did anybody have any questions on it? I didn't ask. Did anybody have any comments on the library report or the fire chief's report? No? Okay. Roger's administrative report.
Okay, Public Works, they're continuing to do, watch the storm drain and the catch basins and the drainage quite often. We had a good rain this morning, and there was a few plugged sewers, storm drains, but they got it right on top of it, and it's working everything as well. We had a little sewer back up on 5th Street between Mission and Franklin, and they got right on it and cleaned it up, and they'll be keeping a close eye on that. It's an old vitrified clay line, and it's pretty dilapidated, and eventually it'll probably have to be replaced, Planning, we're continuing our effort to get the general plan done. We've got it circulated out to the Planning Commission. The Commission asked for additional 60 days to review it. That will be coming up shortly. We've got it back on the schedule for February 2nd. They'll be reviewing it and stuff like that, and as soon as they finish, they'll forward it to the City Council for adoption, and that'll kind of pave the way. As far as my office going, the major emphasis has been the bond refinancing, and we finally got that under our wing here now, and I think now we're working on a report to assess all of the benefits of that, and then they'll be bringing back the options to how we can start making a gradual refunding back to the general fund and free up some money for some of the discretionary projects that the Planning Commission, the City Council would like to see as we go forward.
Okay, any questions?
No, sir.
Any questions from the audience? Okay. Public meetings and City Council committee reports. Jim, did you have anything?
No, I have not.
Robert?
Pretty much fire, pretty much what Rodney had there.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Chris?
The frustration level at AMBAG by the 3 counties seems to be reaching a peak. They're very concerned about the reimbursement of the tax money for the gas tax, what they call cap and trade, back into the communities. The requirements for funding projects have been impossible for almost all the counties in the state to get money. So almost 100% of the $400-some million went to LA County, the Bay Area counties, and Fresno. So it's I think there's going to be a revolt on that subject, but that was about it.
Okay, and I had no meetings. I have one coming up, but okay. Move to. Oh, thank you. We need to put that on here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor, Council members. We did have a meeting last Thursday. Captain Taylor did send over Deputy Krieger and Deputy Brown to give us an update on the rash of break-ins downtown. In general, they said they all appear to be kind of a quick in and out, smash and grab is a description of them. Input cash out, they don't spend a whole lot of time inside. And they had said that they are following quite a bit of leads. They were actually able to retrieve some forensic evidence that has been sent off to get tested and processed. However, they do have detectives working on them, is what we were told. They did give us some tips, and I gave a handout to everybody and city manager and county. And these, it kind of mirrors what I had already done last year during one of our meetings. I'll go ahead and told them I would, I got permission to scan that and put it on our Neighborhood Watch website as well. Both of those deputies had said that they had actually walked the town pretty much completely, and they said it took them hours to kind of go through and make observations. And their 2 biggest observations were that there are a lot of cars that are left completely unlocked. As they look through the door, they can see that the latches, that the lock mechanism is not locked. And they actually found a handful of vehicles that had keys in the ignition sitting on the street. So, as a reminder to everybody, please lock your doors. And if you're not going to lock your doors, don't leave your keys in the ignition. I don't know why anybody in this community would leave keys in the ignition. There's just no reason for it. Leaving your doors unlocked, I mean, I suppose if you're in and out of the house and out all day, that's one thing, but try to keep your doors in your vehicles locked and the doors in your house locked. That was just surprising to hear. And I'll kind of throw together a quick report with those, with that sheet as soon as I can figure out how to scan to the website, get that stuff all laid out. And again, we had, there were some comments made again about the previous subject that you guys have already reviewed, and that's just the need for more policing within the town. And it sounds like we already have a mechanism to make that work. So if I can be a part of that, it sounds like I've already been looped into it. So be more than happy to help and anything to make the community safer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I leave my keys in my car, and I leave the doors unlocked, and I leave the 2 dogs out there.
A lot of good that'll do you.
They can't drive.
I've met your dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, 5A, consider ordinance 2016 amending the municipal code and adding section 11-08, hillside development regulations, second reading.
I attached just a brief little map to show you that we do not have a lot of area in our city, but I just kind of outlined it in the red there, the area that it would be subject to. And as we annex new territory and it gets into the hill, then it'll come under our jurisdiction. Again, our hillside ordinance is mirrored very similar to the counties. However, there are some anomalies that we made specific to the city of San Juan Bautista versus the county. So,
Any questions?
No.
Any speaker cards, Connie? No? Okay. All right. This is the second reading and adoption. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Yeah, I move that we,
and the number, Connie?
It's the first meeting, so it's 2016-01.
01. I move that we adopt ordinance number 2016-01, an ordinance of the City of San Juan Bautista, amending the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code to add Chapter 11-08, Hillside Development Regulations.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, read by
Okay, it's
title.
been moved and seconded.
Yeah, we can read that whole.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bachman absent, Councilmember Lund,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martina,
Aye.
Mayor Edge.
Yes.
Four members of the council being present, motion stated by the mayor passes 12-1.
Who
Okay.
seconded?
I did.
We'll go to action items now. Consider request for funding for improvements to Baruti Park.
You
got another ordinance, I think.
another.
We have another
There's
B.
the maintenance.
Oh, I skipped right over that,
5B,
didn't I?
yeah.
5B, consider ordinance 2016-02, amending the municipal code, chapter 11-02-050, permitted and conditional uses by zoning district matrix, second reading and adoption. We have any discussion? Any speaker cards? Close the public hearing. Anybody want to make a motion?
I had a couple I'd like to walk through briefly.
Okay.
And I was just that some of them seemed curious to me, like on the page 4, near the bottom, commercial recreation and entertainment.
It's pole dancing.
No, I think that's actually covered elsewhere now that you mention it. But because it's not allowed in the commercial or mixed use, that would be something on a larger scale, like a theater? Is that the idea? I'm a little fuzzy on some of the titles.
Is it paintball or
volleyball?
I think it was like an amusement park or something of that nature, and it doesn't belong in a commercial or mixed-use area, but more in the industrial, public facility. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I should probably just trust the planning commission to have. It seems pretty straightforward. I mean, there's a couple of nitpicky things that seemed odd to me, but restaurants in commercial and mixed use seem like it should be conditional use permit as opposed to permitted.
And what
That's
page?
on page 6 near the bottom, restaurant.
We had the first
That was
reading.
the only one that really stuck in me.
We had the first reading and introduction last time.
Yeah. Did we?
Yeah, this is the second reading and
Okay,
adoption.
I'm sorry. I'll keep my. I'm good. All good.
Okay.
Yeah. In the restaurants, we get it permitted in both the mixed use and commercial,
Yeah.
but it's under a conditional in the R3.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Need a motion to approve.
I move that we accept ordinance number 2016-02, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista, amending the San Juan Bautista Municipal Code, Chapter Section 11-02-050, permitted and conditional uses by zoning districts use matrix.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember West,
Yes.
Councilmember Bachman absent, Councilmember Lund,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martina,
Aye.
Mayor Edge.
Yes.
Four members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the mayor passes 4-1.
Okay, we go to 6A, consider request for funding for improvements to Baruti Park. I had an email on this from a citizen. but we don't have a staff report. Roger, is there?
No, I haven't got anything from them. I know that we opened the bids and then we gave it to the committee, and I haven't received back a report from them yet.
Were you going to speak on this, Sonora?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
I asked for this to be added to the agenda after speaking with Sonora, and
Okay. Oh, great.
so she's got some background for us and some specifics.
Okay.
It's my turn. Is it my turn now? Can I
Yeah, go
or should
ahead.
I?
I don't bite.
Hello, Mayor
Even though
Edge,
it
Vice
seems like I
Mayor
might have
Maturana,
earlier.
council members, good evening. My name is Sonora Vasquez, and I'm a member of the Rotary Club of San Juan Bautista. I'm here to ask you to support the restoration of Lauren E. Baruti Memorial Park, located on the corner of 2nd and San Jose Streets in San Juan Bautista. I apologize to those of you who have already heard or read about the manifestation of this project, but it is important for everyone to understand its scope and depth if this is your first introduction. In mid-November, the idea to renovate the park was discussed at length among community members who visualized San Juan as something more than a tourist stop. There are very few places where young children can play safely. With this sentiment in mind, community members felt that a safe and secure playground for young children was long overdue. The park is used extensively on weekends, during holidays, and summer vacation periods. However, the park lacks a sanitary restroom facility which poses health problems to the surrounding neighborhood area. In addition, the sand beneath the playground equipment attracts dogs and cats when there is no activity in the playground. The dogs and cats defecate in the sand, which results in a potential health problem for children using the playground equipment. Shortly after the discussion amongst the community members, the Baruti Park project came to fruition. The project outlined 3 phases. Phase 1, the removal and replacement of the decrepit fence separating the park from the bordering community homes, clearing out the dried shrubs, weeds, and other hazards in the park vicinity, followed by the planting of drought-tolerant and eco-friendly plant life. Phase 2, the replacement of damaged playground equipment while maintaining the original structure, the removal of the hazardous sand from the large playground area, and the addition of a pour-in-place rubber surface. And Phase 3, the removal of the sand in the small playground area, the replacement of the current zip line with a 2 to 5-year-old playground structure, and finally acquiring a pour-in-place surface for the small area as well. The Rotary Club of San Juan Bautista was approached to serve as the fiscal agent for the project. Permission was granted to start Phase 1 by the city manager, and the Rotary Club approved the first grant to fund the beautiful redwood fence that currently stands at the park. After the equipment was purchased, San Juan locals, VFW Post 6359, and Rotary Club members, and also airmen from the 517th Training Group from the Presidio of Monterey, volunteered their time to help beautify the park and put the fence up. Plants were donated by Plant and Landscape Design out of Santa Cruz, and raised stump removal out of Hollister donated the mulch that now surrounds the outer area of the park. The Pizza Factory, Doña Esther's, and the San Juan Bakery also supported the efforts by feeding the volunteers. Phase 1 is now complete. In January of 2015, our first fundraiser kicked off with a spaghetti dinner and comedy show at the VFW right here in San Juan. The Hacienda de Liel, Bears Hideaway, Jardines de San Juan, and Vertigo Coffee Roasting also supported efforts by hosting fundraising events at their respective local business locations. El Teatro Campesino also assisted with the development of a short campaign video. The Community Foundation of San Benito County generously granted the project $14,000, and San Benito County Foundation generously granted the project $15,000, and the San Benito County also realigned $12,250 towards the renovation efforts. On behalf of the San Juan Rotary and the Baruti Park volunteers, I would request the city to allocate an additional $5,000 towards the rubber surface and the completion of Phase 2. I would also like to thank the city for their prior commitment to add a permanent restroom facility in the park vicinity as well. To date, the Baruti Park project has raised $30,603 towards the rubber surface. With the help of Sarah Fontanos of the San Benito County Administrative Office, the bidding process for the rubber surfacing has been completed. Spectra Turf has been selected to complete Phase 2 to the cost of $34,160, which was the most competitive bid. The project is short $3,557. All funds remaining in the Rotary Club of San Juan Bautista's account under the Baruti Park project name will be carried over and utilized towards the completion of Phase 3. A project timeline denoting the purchase of equipment and volunteer work schedules, plus removal and replacement of current structures, will be made available once the request is approved. Once again, I would like to thank the City Council for your past support and urge you to take to look favorably at the final push for the Brewery Park project. And at this point, if you have any questions, I will field them as best as possible. Thank you.
Any questions?
Excuse me, one question. You said $5,000 plus the completion of phase 2?
No, $5,000 towards the completion. So phase two.
Oh, okay.
Right, phase
that, it's not phase 2 is not additional to the 5,000.
Phase 2 is
yeah,
basically taking out the sand, putting in a rubber matting, and also updating some of the equipment.
Yeah.
In front of you, you have a Ross Recreation estimate for the equipment that the Rotary Club is going to purchase, and that's not a replacement of the total structure out there. It's basically fixing the swings that are out there, the riders, spring riders. So there's 3 spring riders out there, to remove those and put new ones. And that cost kind of came up at the end, because if we're going to take out the sand and re-cement it, then this would be the time to replace those rubber spring riders, because we're going to ruin the matting later if we try to do it in the future.
Now let me ask you this, because we haven't clarified it. The Public Works crew will remove the sand, right?
Yes.
Okay. How about the base that goes in there?
The base,
the base under the rubber. Who does that include it in the 34,000, or do we have to purchase that? And
we're going to have the cement or the aggregate donated.
Oh, donated. Okay.
That's your
yes.
brothers.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I was going to leave that part out.
All right. Yeah.
But it is donated. That's taken care of.
Yeah. Okay.
But we will have volunteers. I've already spoken with the 517 training group again, so we'll have airmen out here helping with removal of the sand also.
So could I ask one question, Sonora?
Yes.
Could you write down specifically tasks of what is going to take place, who is going to do what, and there, so that I can relay that to my Public Works crews?
Yes.
Because I don't know the chronological sequence of what is to expect and what the contractor is going to do and what we're going to do.
Yes.
And so I need that to relay that to my Public Works crew.
Absolutely. And I was also hoping that after it's approved, hopefully, that we sit down with all of the key players so that we can actually work out the timeline, so I know who is good at what.
And generally when we get to that point, we have what we call a pre-construction meeting of all the players. Yeah.
I'm learning all the lingo.
Yeah.
So the Rotary Club is going to pay for a portion of this?
For the majority, actually fundraised for this. So we've been fundraising, like I said, since January. So it's a community-led project. So the Rotary Club serves as the fiscal agent. So they've been holding the money basically. Basically, every time we have a fundraiser, I give it to our treasurer, and she hangs on to it for us, and it's just been accumulating. And so it's been a year, almost a year exactly now that we've started the project. So we thought we had enough money, but then we had a little snafu with the county funds, because we didn't realize we had to go through the competitive bid process. So we thought we were just going to get some money and it would all work out, we'd have enough. But that raised the price a little bit, and extended the time period as well, because we had to go through the bid process. So if the city does give money, it'll all work out because we went through that process. We went through the correct government process, however that works, to utilize government funds.
So how much are you short?
I'm short exactly, so $3,557, and I requested $5,000 for incidentals that may come up, just so that would go over $1,500-ish. But the $5,000 would go directly to the rubber matting price.
I'm sorry, the $5,000
would go directly to the rubber matting. And
Okay.
you should also have in front of you the estimate for Spectra Turf that shows the $34,000.
So basically you need $5,000.
That's it. That's it to finish phase 2.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I've been through it. I'm pretty familiar with the project. Been involved with the Rotary Club. It's pretty neat. I mean, it's already the park's already gotten a facelift. We were out there replacing the fence and cleaning up the landscaping and so forth. The city's been doing a great job of maintaining it. Roger's made some progress on the laying the groundwork for the bathroom. the big item is this pour-and-play surface that gets rid of the
Take one of those and pass it down.
cat and dog excrement that is
Yeah.
such a
Oh, yeah.
huge issue in the for all of us.
I thought the sewer line was part of the project.
sewer line.
Don't we need a sewer line to connect the rest of
Yeah,
it?
Yeah, we
Roger's
already
got
have that in.
Oh, it's in?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we put that in about a year and a half ago.
Oh,
2 years
okay.
ago. I just passed out a summary of the impact fees that we get to the various building departments. And in there, I call your attention to the park in lieu impact fee. These are park fees that we get. And so far, we have accumulated approximately $17,000 in there. And if any appropriation of funds that come out of that, it would be out of this fund here and not out of the general fund. It would be coming out of the impact fund. So far, we have spent in the library approximately $183 out of that for miscellaneous items in the library. So we still have a balance there. So of that, I would say that if you do fund the $5,000, that it would be earmarked to come out of the park in lieu impact fee account.
so there's more than enough in there.
Yeah, and do you have any other projects that you have in mind for these dollars, or does this seem like a reasonable?
This is reasonable. Yeah, there are a lot of other ones in it. One is the construction of the restaurant.
Sure.
And that's what we're building up for.
Okay.
You assume that's going to cost to construct the restaurant?
Pat and I anticipated it was about $27,000.
Okay. And we've budgeted for that already, have we not?
Part of it, yeah, right.
Okay.
And we're doing it in phases,
Right.
So
not
I
all
think,
of that necessarily is going to be affected by diminishing this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And then just to let you know is that pending behind what we have here, going back through 2013, 14, 15, and then a few in 16, we have 9 other building permits ready to be issued, and they'll be occurring in the year 2016.
Got it.
Okay. Okay, that probably does it, Sonora. Is there any public comment cards on this? No? Just put your name on one, Rosa, and come on up. Name and phone number.
I love this stuff. Do you want a copy of that, Bob?
These are the impact fees on hand?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
A little plug for the Rudy Park Project Facebook page too. If you want to know more about it, there's actually a Facebook page, and the video that was created with help from the Teatro is on there as well. It's really cute, all community driven. Even children from the community are in the video.
I barely get through the timeline once a week. Hey, Rosa?
My name is Rosemary Apodaca, and I've been a member of this community since 1971. Since I've been here, I haven't seen anyone or any committee work as hard as Sonora and the Rotary have to do this for the community. And I think it's a great project, and I think $5,000 is a really cheap price against the $34,000 that's going to be spent on fixing up our park. That's it.
Are you related to her?
I've been known to be called Mom.
Okay. Any other comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, good evening, City Council. It's a pleasure to be in front of you today. I am a citizen of San Juan Bautista. I am also a wife and a mother, long-time back and forth resident of San Juan Bautista, now also a business owner here in town, but particularly wanting to voice my support for all the improvements, and particularly this particular request to complete Phase 2 of Rudy Park on behalf of my youngest son, who is a child with special needs. And part of the reason why we live in San Juan Bautista is, in fact, to help address his quality of life. And that park has been such a huge, huge part of what makes his world a safe one. And it is welcoming, and it is a beautiful place for any child to be. And all of these improvements that Sonota and the committee and the Rotary and everyone have worked so hard to do are really, really necessary. My son has autism, and that is a large community of people. And that park is, as I said, so welcoming to all children of all different ages, and they all get to cooperate together. I would welcome you to, if you can ever fit it into your schedule, to spend some time there, just sitting on the park bench and looking and seeing what happens. It is a beautiful example of community happening and intergenerational interaction in our community, and it's something that is really precious that you don't find in many other communities. And again, there are so many things that we love about San Juan Bautista, but especially for the families that are here because they want a wonderful place for their children to grow up. This, you can't buy how, I mean, as Rosa said, $5,000 is a very, very, very awesome price for such a beautiful thing to provide for your community. And I really, really ask you on behalf of my son Cassius to please help to continue the support of improving Verity Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I think there was one more. One more card? No? Okay. All right. Discussion? Motions?
I think it's a good thing. I know that Grand Rock put the fence around the outside perimeter of that a few years ago and did some work, but it's the way the community has gotten together on it. I think is wonderful.
I think this is going to be, what, the third time that it's been remodeled?
Third renovation of it.
Yeah.
So I would make that motion that we support this. I think it's dollars well spent.
Sounds good.
Second.
Second. Moved and seconded. Roll
The
call
motion
vote,
should
please.
say is specifically that the expenditure shall be paid from the in lieu park
in lieu
impact fees.
And
the
total
amount of the expenditure. And the amount,
$5,000.
$5,000.
Yeah. We said that, didn't we?
We said that. It was kind of in there. It was all in there.
You did.
But we moved the motion to approve the $5,000 from the Parks and Rec.
Park in lieu impact fees.
Lieu impact fees, yes.
So, the amended motion.
Second.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Locke is absent. Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martirana?
Aye.
Mayor Edge?
Yes.
4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 4-1.
Okay, item B is a resolution, but we don't have it in here, do we?
No.
Do we continue this, or?
I would say let's continue it because I think Bob pointed out is that we have to draft in some wording in there that the difference between the discounting for this particular thing should be funded out of the general fund rather than the enterprise.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. So we're going to continue that.
We'll continue that. Item C, consider resolution 2016 authorizing access to summary criminal history information for employment, licensing, or certification purposes. Roger, did you?
I think Trish has got this, yes.
Okay, great.
We discussed this fingerprinting employees and volunteers, that we don't have that tool or mechanism in place within our city. And as you can see with the Department of Justice, this is the first step towards it. They have to have a resolution on file that the City Council supports this.
Got it. And this is primarily the Strategic Plan Committee has a youth committee, and that's where the liability gets to where we should have anybody dealing with the youth be fingerprinted.
Yeah.
Good.
And the number? No, this is resolution.
Yes.
Is it? Because it was 02 when that last.
The other was an ordinance.
This is 01 then?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because there was no resolution.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this going to be like a live scan?
Yes.
Yes.
We can get the actual fingerprint rolling done at, I think, the Department of Education. There might be a couple other places, it slips my mind. But once the fingerprints are taken, then it goes in the database and they have the results, and it has to be able to come back to somebody.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing this process. I mean, having it sent to somebody at ANZAR is not helpful because that's where it stays. Or, yeah, ANZAR, Aroma School District, excuse me.
I know when I did mine, it took like 7 months to get back.
Really?
Yeah, and there's some that
Took
were
them a
like,
long time to read
yeah.
the record.
Wow.
Really?
A lot of
Yeah,
material
carpal
to
tunnel
get
by
through.
the time they were done.
They had to
But
get a lot through a lot of
I've seen
material
rap
today.
sheets like that before.
and then some were just pretty quick. Is that going to be like a? I mean, do you have to have that back before whatever we're going to use that for? I mean, if we're going
Well,
to have
I'm
the
hoping that
employees.
it's going to be less than 7 months. I've been fingerprinted and they knew
Yeah.
within a week.
Yeah.
Well, within
Same
a week.
with me.
So that's news to me that it would take that long.
Yeah, I've experienced less than a week or
Yeah.
about a week.
Yeah.
So
It was just. It came back. It was
mission.
okay. It was
Mission.
clean, but
I think we should move on.
That's auto body section.
No, I'm clean. Okay, do we have any public comment cards on this? No? Okay. Anybody want to speak on it? No? Okay. I guess we need a motion unless somebody wants to talk about it.
I move that we pass a resolution to the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing access to summary criminal history information for employment licensing or certification purposes.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Fox is absent. Councilmember Lund?
yes.
Vice Mayor Margarina?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rich? I'm sorry, Mayor Rich?
Yes.
The 4 members of the council being present for motion that the state resident passes 4-1.
Okay, thank you. That takes care of 6C. 6D, consider resolution 2016. I'm sorry.
So when she's saying that it's passing 4-1, should it be 4-0 and 1 absent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that
Four,
what?
four in favor.
4-0, yeah. 4-0.
No, none opposed.
One absent.
One
None
absent.
abstain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Excused, yeah. Okay.
It wasn't like somebody voted against it.
Because it sounds like Tony's been
Yeah.
disagreeing with us all night long.
And we think it was you. Yeah.
Well, he would if he were here. All right, 6D, consider resolution 2016-02, providing holiday pay for part-time employees.
What we've experienced is that during the holiday period, the regular full-time employees are granted the holiday pay. But the part-time people that work less than the 40 hours, some of them work 14 hours, 30 hours, they don't get it and everything. And so we felt that it should be kind of prorated just to be fair and treat everybody in a fairly equitable way and everything. So we came up with this resolution that would be prorated the number of hours that they work in relation to the full-time employee. And I think we did the mathematics, and it was only like $1,800 it's going to cost us in a full year.
How many
Okay.
part-time employees do we have?
3.
It's like $600. That's pretty good part-time holiday pay.
What?
It's not all 600 equal. It
Right. No,
depends
it's
on
over.
to the hours they work. Yeah.
Okay. Any speaker cards on this?
No.
Any discussion?
I've got two things. Number one, I really object to having this come up at the Christmas holiday because everybody is very generous at that time, and I think it's a bad time to start talking about benefits and wages. And the second thing is...
Yeah, no, and I apologize for that because it was brought to my attention in November, but we were busy with the refinancing, and I didn't get it on for the
But
December, yeah.
there's such pressure to be generous at Christmas.
Yeah.
That was kind of bad. And the second thing is, do other cities do this? I mean, one of the things I have a problem with is, I mean, it sounds logical to us, but if we're the only ones doing it, then they're going to go. The employees from the other cities are going to go. And I don't want to set a precedent.
I can say when I worked for the city of Campbell and Los Gatos, it was prorated according to the hours you worked. Sick leave as well as vacation, everything was prorated according to the hourly. Yeah.
Those are the two cities I grew up in.
That's a common thing. It certainly seems
I got to go back and
fair
get
enough,
my
and
part-time
it's
pay.
not a big money deal.
No, it's not. Yeah, it just it was something that we didn't address with part-time people, and then we felt that it was only fair.
Other cities who have part-time people, I didn't say, you guys gave it to yours, now it's kind of like a union thing, you know. I know they're not union. I understand.
Part-time union.
Part-time
Well,
union.
in response to that, I doubt if we're competing with the city of Gilroy for employees.
No,
So-
not that we're competing.
Well,
but
no,
that if-
you're saying we have to offer it because they might be offering it.
No, I'm saying that if we offer it, they may have to be forced into it.
Is that our problem?
I like that
You know,
part.
I'll tell you, I'm not a supporter of Bernie Sanders, but there are some points he's made that
Oh, boy.
are very true. The corporate income in America from 1947 to 1974 was on an upward swing. Wages were on the same path, the same vector, I guess you call it. In 1974, corporate profits kept on going up in the same line, and income started leveling out. And it's been that way ever since. And I'm not, obviously the city of San Juan is not a corporation and there's no corporate profits to worry about. But you know what? This economy is upside down. And, anything we can do to help employees, I think, is a good thing because we don't have enough people making enough money to support the economy in this country. The middle class is destroyed and they're the ones that paid all the bills. And now we're all scrambling for money. And California has been in a hole since Prop 13 went in. So,
But our taxpayers are in the same situation. And a lot
they're
of
not as bad off as they used to be. The residential taxpayers in California are now supporting the taxes here. And the corporations are not paying it. Because they found loopholes in Prop 13.
The taxpayers that fund our general fund have the same kind of economic constraints that everybody else has. So we're going to take the money from them and give it to somebody else. I mean, Bernie Sanders says take it from the top to the bottom, not from the bottom to the bottom.
Oh, I see your point.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Point
that's all my point, and that you guys, whatever you think.
Okay.
I had a couple of questions about mechanics. I was curious about how the PTO and sick time was calculated, if it's an accrual based on the number of hours worked. And it seemed to me that just from a mechanical standpoint and accounting standpoint, writing it in the same fashion where it's just an accrual based on the number of, it's a fraction of an hour earned based on the number of holidays and so forth. But I don't feel strongly about it. I have just a suggestion from an accounting standpoint if that might simplify this.
Yeah, we had to ratio it down to the schedule and hour work per week as a ratio of and prorate it to the holiday pay.
Sure,
because a full-time employee gets 8 hours holiday pay.
No, I get that. I'm just wondering if if the accounting software can do this versus having somebody have to do it manually. That would be my only suggestion, is to make sure that the accountant says this is an easy way to do it.
Yeah, right. We'll take a look at that.
No problem with it.
I know Trish does the accrual on sick leave,
Sure.
vacation accrual and stuff, and it's all prorated according to their.
Yeah, if this is simple for you, that's fine. I don't.
It's pretty simple.
Okay.
The ADP does and keeps track of our accruals.
Right. But this isn't an accrual. It's a very specific type of separate calculation. That's all. So if ADP says this is easy, fine. If this makes it, a special thing, then I would say make it an accrual instead of. But I have no issues with it. I'm perfectly comfortable with it.
Okay. Okay. What's your pleasure?
Did you have any?
No, I'm good with it.
Okay, it's a resolution. Okay. So I move that we pass a resolution to the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista, amending Rule 14 of the City of San Juan Bautista Personnel Rules relating to holiday pay for part-time employees.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Watts? Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Margarita?
Aye.
Mayor Fish?
Yes.
Being passed the motion for the state budget, it passes 4-0. Councilmember Bach absent.
Okay, I need to take a restroom break. Could I just turn the gavel over to...
So we can both take a
Why don't you-
restroom break, and then we won't
Yeah, I
have a
would say
quorum.
you should-
Oh, joint? Okay, all right.
adjourn
We'll
for-
take a 5-minute break. Okay. We left off with E. We'll resume the meeting now. So 6E, consider resolution 2016-03. Resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing submittal of application for payment program and related authorizations.
And this is the recycling and recovery from the Cal Recycle to recover the part of the fees we get, so. We do it from here, and then we transmit this to the solid waste and Sarah from the county, and then they handle it through their department.
So this is just sort of housekeeping.
Yes.
Okay. They need it from us to get, so that they can reimburse us.
Exactly.
Okay. They need a resolution from us.
Okay. Any other questions on it? Any public comment? Okay. So this is just for something all jurisdictions have to do, huh? Okay. If there's no questions, no discussion, we need a motion. If you want to pass it.
I move that we make a resolution of the City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing submittal of an application for payment program and related authorizations.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded.
Councilmember West.
Yes.
Councilmember Bach is absent. Councilmember Lund.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Aye.
Mayor Edge.
Yes.
4 members of the council being present, the motion is to make this pass is 401. Councilmember Bach absent.
Okay, we'll move to 6F. Consider resolution 2016-04, accepting Bracewell Engineering's proposal to prepare the Department of Drinking Water permit application for well number 4 at 6650.
Yeah, we have the plans, the legal descriptions, we have everything that. I've got most of the data there. There are a lot of technical stuff that I don't have the availability to generate. We've had the water testing and stuff like that, so I asked Lloyd to outline what it would take for him to finish this off, and the preliminary source assessment and the engineer's report, and come to about $6,650. Okay, and I thought that was reasonable to finish the report so we can get it to the water agency and then get it approved so that then we can go out to bid on the well.
Right.
The funding on this thing will come out of account number 19-604. That's the engineering. We do not have staff in engineering, but I budgeted this year $23,000 for engineering services that would come because I anticipated this, as well as maybe some reports on the pellet plant when we get going. And so it'll come out of that account there, 19-604, and there's $23,000 into that.
Okay. Any questions?
No, I don't actually have a resolution in here.
No,
Yeah, I didn't. Just
So there's
nothing, huh?
no.
No.
so I didn't lose it.
No, I didn't. That's what I was thinking. Why?
Trish.
Do you have one there, Roger?
Take action to adopt it.
We can, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I'll bring back the resolution. It would be a resolution of the City Council, City of San Juan Bautista, authorizing a contract with Bracewell Engineering Corporation in the amount of $6,650 for preliminary engineering work for well number 4 permit.
So moved.
Second.
And you could
All in favor?
take action on the resolution, a speaking resolution in this case, rather than a written
Yeah.
resolution.
Okay.
It's still
Roll call.
valid.
Councilmember West.
Yes.
Councilmember Bach is absent. Councilmember Lund.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martin.
Aye.
Mayor Edge.
Yes.
4 members of the council being present, the motion is stated by the maker passes 401. Councilmember Bach absent.
Okay, that takes us to 6G, consider change to the Strategic Planning Committee membership. This is to add somebody to the committee, so all we need to do, I guess, is rubber stamp it.
And she's waited so patiently.
You sure you want to get into this? You'll probably get stuck with the police research.
That's actually something I'm looking forward to.
Good.
Good, okay.
Good. Then you're hired.
Okay.
So I move that we add Estrada Esparza Johnson to our strategic plan committee.
Second.
Immediately.
Been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember West?
Yes.
Councilmember Roth is absent. Councilmember Lund?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Martinez?
Aye.
Mayor Lynch?
Aye.
All members not being present. The motion is stated by the motion passes 401. Councilmember Roth.
Okay, 7A. Sheriff's Department request to equip Ford Explorer with mobile in-car camera system.
Okay. As you see in the attachments from the San Benito County Sheriff Department, it's into three different components of the net motion mobile window device and interactive data support, $23.95, and then the camera system, an evidence library, and wire kit of $6,084, and then the M7 system core processor, computer, and upgraded Wi-Fi kit, and GPS, an amount of $7,162, coming to a total of about $15,000 altogether in equipping the Ford Explorer that we purchased for the Sheriff Department.
So there's no narrative explaining what all this is, just a bunch of quotes on equipment?
Actually, it's almost a bill now.
Yeah,
Well, I gather they're going to do it for all the
The
cars, but
last
they
sheet
need
in
us
there
for Cuba,
is,
Carol.
they went out to bid and they're equipping all their other vehicles with this mobile device, and they got a bid of $85,000, and they would like the city to pay a portion of that for the Ford Explorer that we purchased for them for their patrol service.
What was our total?
15.
$16,000.
23.95.
$85,951.79.
Yeah, it's their total.
15,641.
Yeah,
15,641 is our share.
$16,000. Yeah.
15,641.
Okay. The only thing that I would probably question is I wouldn't hesitate spending that if that vehicle was used 100% of the time in San Juan Bautista, but majority of the time it's not in San Benito County. It's not in here. We have, of course, other vehicles that they come in that'll have their equipment on it and stuff like that.
Question. So they're putting this in all the vehicles at a total cost of $85,000?
That is correct, yeah.
And it looks to me like one of the vehicles maybe has most of the equipment already. So there's 11 vehicles that need the system, which works out to $7,813 if you divided it by the number of vehicles. And so
That's where I was.
What'd you say about that one vehicle?
Well, it says that there's a list of vehicles on the page that has the 85,000.
Right.
There's a list of 12 vehicles, and one of them appears to have some or most of the equipment. It's a little confusing because it says it already has the 9/11 data. But so best case, if you drop that off, there's 11 vehicles. If you divide the $85,951 by 11, it comes to $7,813. I certainly feel more comfortable if I had a better understanding of
Why we're paying a lot.
why that breakout comes out like that, as well as I mean, I have no idea what this is for. There's no information about what this does for us and how it's going to impact the city. I hate to be a cynic, but I'm just
I'm with you
warm
on
and
this.
fuzzy right now.
I'm with you on this,
Pardon me?
especially.
And it's a discussion.
Yeah. Oh, well, good point.
What was that?
It's a discussion item.
6 cars.
Pardon me?
I only see 6 cars.
Well, if you look in
2009
parentheses,
Dodge
Rick.
Charger. Yeah.
Except there's 2 Dodge Chargers, there's 1 Tahoe, then a second line item Tahoe, 3 Dodge Chargers that are 2015 Chargers, 3 Ford Explorers, and 2 Crown Vics. And I'm making an assumption that those are the number of vehicles there, but that appears to be the number of vehicles.
I see.
I have 2 2009 Dodge Chargers.
You know, we shouldn't have to put separate pages together and analyze them and come up with call lists. And
there should be someone answer questions.
Yeah, I move to continue this item.
Second.
And I can get a hold of Mr. LaMonica and he can come and make a presentation.
And I'm sure they had, I mean, they're very strapped. So
Yeah,
I'm sure he intended to be here. I know they intended to be here because there's been conversation about it with all the break-ins, but clearly something's happened.
This kind of thing should have a narrative with it that explains what they're doing, what the cost is, how many vehicles, all of that.
And what's the county doing?
We get 44 hours a week, and there's 168 hours in a week. So
are we going to
get to a percentage, and that's what we should be responsible for.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
You know, not divided by the
and
number
are we
of
going to
cars.
get? Are we going to get 168 hours of data each month showing it in San Juan Bautista?
Contractually, we're obligated to buy the car. This is part of the car. I don't necessarily have a problem with paying for the equipment for the car, because that's sort of part of the program we've signed up for, but it's not clear that we're just paying for the car.
Too many questions.
I agree.
So we had a motion to continue this?
Yes, sir.
And a second. Do we need to vote on that?
No, it's only discussion.
Okay.
Direction. You have a public comment on that.
26%.
Mr. Mayor?
One public comment.
Who is it? Yes. Did we hit a sore spot here? Or?
No. No, this is, I think, kind of along the same lines as I think the mathematics of it aren't working out. I've tried reading through the book, and it was hard to go back and forth and see exactly what they're doing. And I know that we purchased a vehicle every, 4 or 5 years?
3 years.
3 years. But, I mean, that vehicle isn't only used in town, so even though we own the vehicle, the usage of that thing really should be kind of calculated out to, and probably the easiest way to do it is how many miles is that thing in service and how many of those miles occur here, or conversely, how many hours is that vehicle on the road in a given month, and compared to our 168 hours a month of the contract. And that's really how, in my opinion, it should be calculated. I mean, that's, if you do it by the vehicle, it's certainly not $15,000. If you do it by the hour, my guess is it's a lot less than that.
Yeah, also, it's, I'd like to extend it to 4 years on the car.
Or longer.
Or longer.
Yeah, I mean, that's an issue with that.
Like we calculated up and down the street 6 times, every street in San Juan 6 times a day. Back and forth from the station over there. That's how many miles it would take, or that was what it would take to put that many miles on a car. And I don't think...
This was, 90,000 miles for the 3 years?
Yeah, 30,000 miles a year.
That's a question for the contract. I mean, we can put that on the agenda and discuss, reviewing the contract. I'm all for it.
And it's like a company car. If you don't use it for the company, you got to pay for it.
Right.
So we're going to continue this then? Okay. Roger will continue this item?
Good.
Yes. 7B is done. 7C, countywide library needs assessment.
I apologize. That doesn't need to be on. we discussed that, and it may come up, it will, I believe, come up at a future meeting, but there's
Another
nothing for
intergovernment.
tonight.
Okay.
That's where it was
fine.
coming from, was intergovernment, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, 7D is done. 7E, accept resignation of Pat Garrett from Planning Commission. We didn't get a copy of his.
We didn't get that in, we didn't put it in there?
And the person who appointed him's not here either.
Was that Tony?
Yeah, I believe it was Tony.
Who's appointed?
Yeah, I can get it.
That's all
I
right.
do have it, but
Tony appointed.
I spoke to Tony Bach and mentioned that this should be on the agenda now, even though he was not going to be present, and he has given me direction to post it and see if we can get another person that would like to run.
Okay.
Like the position.
Okay, any other comment on that?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
With regret.
I think we're into city council comments.
Would we need to accept the resignation?
Do we?
Oh, do we need to make a motion?
No, you don't?
No, you don't need it formally.
No? Okay.
Oh, you mean we can't tell him he can't leave?
No.
No, Pat.
What is
We
it?
refuse,
Sorry,
Pat.
What is it
Denied.
Trump says? You're fired. Okay. City council comments. Who wants to start off? Chris?
I don't have anything
No?
today.
Okay.
Thank you.
Robert?
Considering these break-ins and stuff, I believe everybody's trying to do what they can, and I hope it gets resolved fast. Other than that, I'm pretty much good with everything.
Question we talked about, when are we going to put that partition up of the counter so that we don't get spit at anymore?
We're working on it, and I have a contractor giving me some price quotes on the bulletproof glass.
Yeah.
What's her name? Michelle?
And then the
out there.
A little drawing and everything.
Not in front of here.
How it can be
It would have been
framed.
good today, huh?
To keep it from going after the local.
And the second
members
would be
of
the
audience.
stop sign, moving the stop sign from.
Oh, that would have been a tough battle.
Franklin, yeah, right. And that, I'll have
sorry.
that probably
Hard
at
trial
the next
parade.
meeting, I've got a little diagram, and we've had some analytical work to
And
support
then
it.
the last thing I'd like to say is, do not fix 3rd Street. They're already complaining people go too fast up there. We just let that street just deteriorate. That's a speed bump. Do not fix it.
Thank
I mean, that's why people go on 4th Street now, because they go faster. I know I do.
On camera, he admitted
On
it. The other thing, we're going to court next month, and are we going to get a decision then?
I doubt if there's a decision on that on the 8th. The Adwell project is scheduled to be heard on the February 8th. As far as we know, that's still scheduled. So it's getting pretty late to change, but
So they
it
also
is possible.
they also had a request for some information to kind of.
And I think we've narrowed that down, and we got everything
I think that finally, the record is finally
complete, yeah.
gotten to a point where it's complete.
Yeah.
It's been a long process. I understand. Same emails between their side and our side. Yeah, but that is scheduled to go forward. I'm going to report on that on the
Oh, okay.
February 8th.
City manager comments?
None, I think,
None?
Rudy, you got
City
anything?
attorney?
The only thing I just mentioned on the Pat Garrett resignation, I'll just make the comment of the city attorney's report that resignation has been received because we didn't technically take action to add the item to the agenda. So the council need not take any action on it, you just received it.
Oh, okay.
But normally if we have an item that comes up like that, you guys have to add it to the agenda under certain. Just a little procedure.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
haven't had much to say on that.
All right. I think that's it, right? Any other comments? Okay, I'll adjourn the meeting. Oh, no, I need a motion.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need a roll call on that? I don't think we do. No, okay. Thank you all.